How's it going, everyone? Connor with Adventure Labs here. I wanted to formally welcome you to episode 1 of Let's Meet for Coffee. This brand new, informal, casual video series is all about chatting about the creative industry just as if you would be if you're grabbing a coffee with a buddy. I wanted to start this video series because personally, one of my favorite things to do was to meet up at a cafe with a buddy, a creator, a shooter, anyone really, and just get a coffee, get a little caffeinated, and just chat about the current state of life, essentially. With pretty much everything closing down because of COVID, I can't do that anymore. I can't go and walk into a cafe and grab my coffee. Everything's takeout. Things are just different. So that's sort of what inspired this video series. And who knows, I think it will probably last much after cafes reopen again. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun, and I hope to do this eventually in maybe a live setting. I don't know, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Should I do this live so that you guys can kind of chat with me? I don't know, this is all new, but welcome to episode 1. And I even wore my Stobel coffee shirt, my current favorite local coffee roaster here in Chico, California. This video series is not really about gear reviews. We're still gonna be posting all types of reviews. It's supposed to be a little bit more casual than that. Like I said, literally just you and a buddy chatting it over, maybe duking it out over which camera you like more. You're a Sony guy, you're a Canon guy, whatever, any of that kind of stuff. That's what this video series is about. It's gonna be super informal. So without further ado, let's get into episode 1. And today's topic is, drumroll please, the Canon R5 versus the Sony a7S III. The other day on Instagram, we did a post encouraging discussion about the pros and cons of both these cameras, as well as a little poll on our stories, and the results were actually super interesting to me, which is why I wanted to chat about it today. Personally, I'm having a very hard time choosing between these two cameras. They both have their pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses, and you guys laid some really awesome points out on the table. So one by one, I'm just gonna start reading comments of what you guys had to say on our Instagram and just kind of work that into my current thoughts about both these cameras. So obviously the R5 and the a7S III are both amazing cameras. I think everyone can agree on that. It kind of just comes down to personal opinion, personal style of shooting, which of course, when does it not? So I'm gonna read some of the comments that you guys had to say, and we'll go from there. So comment number 1 that I want to read is Sony a7S III because I pre-ordered it. Well, you're kind of screwed there if you wanted the R5. But his main point was that it doesn't overheat. Now, I think we all know by now the R5 has problems with overheating in 8K and 4K 60. Now, I kind of wanted to talk about this just for a quick second because here's the thing. I think most people aren't gonna be recording in 8K for more than 20 minutes straight. And if you are, you've been blessed by the hard drive terabyte gods because that's a lot of footage. The way I would personally use the 8K mode is if I was capturing cinematic B-roll and I was recording for maybe 5 to 10 seconds at a time. So yes, everyone's talking about overheating being a huge issue, but it's gonna be interesting to see if over time, the people that ordered the R5 and that are using it out in the field, if that actually becomes a real issue or not. Right underneath the a7S III person is a comment that says, no doubt R5. So here we go, we're starting to get those conflicting opinions. Under that, we have another Sony a7S III winner. So they say, a7S III without a doubt. It doesn't mean Canon R5 isn't a great camera, but the Sony a7 III is a dedicated video camera, especially in low light scenarios. I wish to have the Sony a7R III and a Sony a7S III. I guess this is such a great combo. I'll have a great backup and I can use an a7R III for photos rather than buying an R5 and an R6. This is just my opinion, share your opinion, I'm waiting. So the only issue that I have with that opinion is that I think if you went with the R5, you probably don't need to buy both the R5 and the R6. Like if you bought the a7 III, how you'd have to have another dedicated photo camera because the photo specs are lacking on the a7S III, whereas on the R5, I think everyone can agree, that's been sort of engineered to be a better hybrid camera. So I don't think you're gonna need 2 systems if you're buying the R5, unless you literally physically need 2 cameras. You're shooting events, maybe you need a wide angle and a zoom. But in terms of the capabilities of that camera, I think if you are a hybrid shooter, you're shooting 50% photo, 50% video, the R5 is kind of the more obvious choice. I don't know, maybe you'll disagree with me on that. I do definitely agree that if you're gonna go with the a7S III, that's a mainly dedicated video camera, and you will have to buy another body for photography. Come on guys, don't forget to take a sip of coffee. We're chatting over coffee here. And then we have a comment here asking for suggestions for cheaper cameras. I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but this does present the opportunity that I think the A7 III, maybe the EOS R and other cameras in that category, I do think those prices are going to come down now, and those are still amazing cameras that everyone was using up until about, this week when people started to pre-order these new cameras. So the benefit of these new cameras coming out is maybe you can't afford them, they are super expensive, but the cameras that everyone was using are now going to be discounted. So what a great opportunity. Another comment sort of reinforcing the hybrid element of the R5. They choose the R5 because it's better for photos as well as videos, and that comment has a few likes on it, so we have some people agreeing. We have another comment, Canon for the RF lenses. Yes, but I think the G Master lenses are super nice as well on Sony's end. Yes, they are super expensive, but so are the RF lenses, so I don't know about that one. Another R5 fan here saying, it's better all around camera. The Sony is a more dedicated video camera. That being said, Canon all day. So it sounds like these people might be a little bit biased. They've probably been with Canon for a while, but I definitely do agree with that comment. This one had me cracking up. R5 easily because of its sheer power. Boom, mic drop, coffee drop. Probably don't do that second one. But yeah, it's a powerful camera. 8K beast, 120 slow-mo in 4K. I mean, the A7 III S3 does that too, but not the 8K. You get the point. Let's move on. So we have some more R5s, Canon for life. I actually have not read this comment yet. I just saw it come in, so I'm gonna be sort of experiencing this point of view for the first time. It's a long one. Grab your coffee, take a sip. Someone said, I love this debate and I love people who say the Canon because its photo capabilities are better when I'm doing both and I need the higher quality. Sorry, bullshit. If you're at the level of photo and video these cameras are made for, you're not running around with one camera body. Yes, you need them to be able to do both, but let's be honest. I'm out with a body that's set up for photo and a body that's set up for video. When I'm shooting video, and then when I want photos, I pull out the other camera. Okay, so far on this comment, dude, I feel you 100%. If you're actually using both these cameras to the highest level that they can produce, which is what you're investing in, I can kind of get behind what you're saying here, and that's what I mentioned earlier a little bit. Let me continue on this long comment, but it's a good one. I can then use my photo body for multiple angles, but to say I'm going out with one body isn't happening. That said, the A7S III can handle shooting outside on a hot day, while the Canon can't. So if you're an outdoor adventure person, it just won't cut it. My bag will have an A7S III, an A7R III, and 6500, maybe upgraded to a 6600 to save different batteries. Boom, okay, I think this guy summed up what I personally think pretty darn well. As an adventure filmmaker, I definitely don't want to be worrying about overheating. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, it'll be interesting to see once people actually take it out in the field, if they're truly experiencing that many issues with the overheating. I don't know, because personally, due to its hybrid nature, I kind of lean towards the R5, but if that overheating really is an issue, that's not gonna work for me. I'm gonna have to go with the Sony, which by no means should be a negatively connotated statement because that camera is amazing. So I think most average consumers, people that may not be shooting all day, every day for their career, but they're pretty serious about shooting, they probably don't need two bodies like this guy just said. If you're doing it professionally and you really want the top level of quality, then yeah, maybe you do. But we have another comment saying, I plan on getting the R5, so I only need to take one body with me instead of one dedicated to either photo or video. So of course, another opposing opinion. Also, priority for me is photo over video, so the Canon is the obvious choice. Both are incredible though. Now, I love this comment. I'd have to test drive them both before making a decision. In an ideal world, me too, but I need to get my hands on that 124K ASAP, so I am not wasting any time sleeping on that feature. So I'm probably gonna have to make a decision and just pre-order one of these cameras. This one's pretty juicy here. Always been a Sony nerd, but this R5 has me turning my head. That's gonna be interesting to see how many people switch from Sony to Canon and Canon to Sony. If there's any way they could track that, I'd love to get that information because I might be switching to Canon. I've never shot Canon, so we'll see. All right, let's read this one. I will go for the R5 for many reasons, but the principal ones are, I'm also a photographer and need a better sensor, don't need the low light performance of the A7S. That's true. If you're not shooting in the dark, you don't really need that low light performance of the A7S. For video, I do not normally shoot more than 10 or 15 minutes top, and I normally film entire days, but not at each minute, so overheating won't be that of a problem. I mentioned this earlier, I agree there. And finally, after viewing so many videos of the A7S III and some of the R5 too, I prefer the image quality of the R5, its IBIS, and its autofocus. For 8K, I won't be using it that much, but I'm sure sooner than we think, 8K will be the next 4K. Parentheses, everyone will use it and love it. Yeah, we probably will. Canon is ahead of its time of 8K. I believe the Blackmagic Ursa or Ursa Mini is now shooting 12K. So who knows, we'll probably be shooting 200K in like 3 years, but only time will tell. Okay, so those are the main comments that I wanted to highlight. I feel like we sort of touched everything in there. The interesting thing is now this poll that we did on our stories. I said, should be interesting, A7S III, R5, which one do you choose basically? It was 40% A7S III and 60% R5. So yeah, by my comments, I could definitely tell more people were leaning towards the R5, but it seems like those who chose the Sony were hardcore Sony and couldn't ever justify spending $1 on the R5. And that's probably because they're video shooters, they want the best video specs possible, which yes, I definitely think the A7S III has the advantage over the R5 when it comes to video. This is not super helpful. I still don't know which camera to buy because on one front, I'm definitely more of a video shooter than I am a photo shooter. So when it comes to that, I kind of lean towards a Sony. But if I'm gonna spend $4 grand roughly on a body, it would be nice to also be able to have the capability to shoot photos. Yes, I also would love having 2 bodies, but I don't know if I can justify at this moment having the A7S III and then also the A7R III. Man, so many cameras coming out now, getting confused. But that's expensive to own 2 camera bodies. I don't know, I'm so torn. I love the specs on the A7 III. They definitely have the edge over the R5. I don't know, this is tricky. I think as of this video right now, I'll probably change my mind even as I'm editing this video. I would personally probably go with the R5. Yes, I want to have a dedicated photo and a dedicated video camera, but even then I can guarantee there's gonna be those times where I'm out shooting video and I wish the body was more capable to snap a quick photo for a thumbnail on a video. I just see something that I'm inspired by that I want to start shooting photos of. And at the end of the day, you know, if my gear is limiting my creative vision, then that's less shots for me. That's less fulfillment that I am getting of my creative vision. Sometimes I'll have my GH5 or an A7 III out and my iPhone will be the better option because maybe I have a 85mm prime on there and I want to get a wide angle video of a landscape or something. So it doesn't really matter what the camera is, it more matters if it's being used in a way that you're actually gonna use it. Yeah, 8K is great, it'd be fun to walk around with the camera and say, look at me, I can shoot 8K, but do you actually need it based on your style of shooting? Most people probably don't, I know I don't. 4K, even 6K would be more than enough. So I think it's about time that I wrap up this episode 1 of Let's Meet for Coffee. It's been a blast, I hope you're a little caffeinated, a little bit more caffeinated now than you were at the beginning of the video. I sure am, you could probably tell. But anyways, guys, if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel if you're new here. Let me know down in the comments if I should do this live next time. Maybe this would be fun if you guys could be dropping comments on your thoughts, and it's more like we're all hanging out in one big cafe. We could probably get maybe, I don't know, like 100 people in a room versus just the normal setting of you and a friend. So I think that would be fun. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being a part of the Adventure Labs community. Good luck with your camera choice on these 2 cameras. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are, if I missed anything, if you resonated with anything, and until next time, keep creating. I'll see you later. Peace.